What is this funny little plant? This is an akocha vine, and here in Ontario, they're very unusual to grow, although I'm told in parts of the world they're very prolific and in fact weedy, crowding out other kinds of plants. But here in my garden, where I don't have to worry about that, they've turned out to be a really fun little project this year. They are also known as Bolivian cucumber, as slipper gourd, and a whole host of other names. And they belong to the gourd family, but they're mainly grown, at least I'm mainly growing them, to be a cucumber substitute. My family loves eating cucumbers, and while my plants are doing pretty okay this year, many years I have trouble keeping up with the demand for fresh sliced cucumbers and pickles and all the rest of it, mainly because I have a lot of cucumber beetles around. So akocha, first of all, is really nice to grow because it's very pest resistant. And while I have cucumber beetles in my Armenian cucumbers, my pickle cucumbers, my suyo long cucumbers, I don't have any cucumber beetles or Japanese beetles or really any pests growing among my akocha vine. While it's part of the gourd family, the akocha vines are really quite delicate, and the akochas, even when fully mature, are not that big. So they really like to grow vertically up a trellis. This keeps them from sprawling all over, and the vines are climbers. They've got these little tendrils everywhere. In a season, if it's long enough, they can reach 7 or 8 feet quite easily. And akocha also really like the sun. They like a nice long hot summer if you have it. So here in Ontario, that means that I start them inside. Days to maturity are about 70 to 80, kind of depending on if you want to eat the fruit when they're really young and babyish, or if you want to wait for them to get a little bit larger when they are actually a lot more like a green pepper than like a cucumber. But if you start them inside around the same time as you would start your cucumbers, for early season cucumbers, then you're going to get a good vine like this with still plenty of growing season left. Plant them in full sun, in well-watered but also well-draining soil, and when they're about this big, they're ready to harvest. These little spines are quite prickly. If you're wearing gloves or you've got leather fingers, you can just brush them off like I'm doing here, but you probably don't want to eat them. We've got them off. Okay, let's have a taste. This one's actually, despite it being so small, a little closer to maturity than I thought it was going to be. So it does have kind of that cross between a pepper and a cucumber sort of taste. The other thing that you can do, which perhaps had I known that the seeds were dark and mature in here I would have done, is to open it up, pull the seeds out, and then you can stuff these or just chop them up like a green pepper and serve them with rice, with cheese, on their own. They're delicious. Better without the seeds. Let's do a little comparison so you can see the difference. This akocha with the spines removed is a bit more mature. And if you look inside here, it's got these dark or almost all dark seeds, and it's actually kind of hollowed out a little bit. So it takes almost nothing to just pull this apart, especially if it was a bit bigger. Make a nice little cavity where you can stuff it like it's a green pepper or chop it up like it's a green pepper. And it tastes more similar to a green pepper. Oh, it's wanting to split here. Splitting on its own. That's fun. The pepper that cuts itself. Here's a more immature example of the akocha. If I open this up, it's got little white seeds very similar to a cucumber. Now this, you eat the whole thing. You don't carve out the middle, and it's similar to a little baby cucumber in taste, texture, appearance, all of it. These little flowers don't look like very much, but actually the pollinators love them. And they can be anywhere from about a white to about a yellow. Very pretty when they're open. So if you want to try something new, I always love trying something new, or if you're having trouble growing cucumbers because of pests, especially the cucumber beetle, give the akocha a try. It's a really fun addition to the garden. Doesn't take up much space as long as you can grow it up and around and give it as much sun and water and love as you can. However your garden grows, keep growing as a gardener.